First, I do have a welcome for everybody. If I think you all know me, but in case you don't, my name is Betsy Ritter. I live in Waterford, and this year I'm working as president of the Southeastern Connecticut Federation of Democratic Women. And first, we'll have Beth Leamon, and she's running for the Judge of Probate.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, everybody. It's really an honor to be here with the Federation of Democratic Women. I want to start off by saying, as you know, Betsy pointed out, that judicial candidates are in a fairly different position for candidates for legislative office. And that's because judges have to appear objective and open-minded on all issues. That being said, I wanted to speak about some of the issues that you brought up as I feel they relate to the probate court. So I'm going to talk about education, economics, and racial justice. So first, economics. I was an economics major in college, so this is right up my alley. But as a judge of probate, I'll be in a unique position to provide firsthand insight to the people who use the probate court system. And so what I would want to do is make sure that regardless of financial ability, the probate court is accessible to everyone. To that end, I want to work with keeping probate court fees down and keeping the court efficiently run, which will ensure that the probate court does not use too much of the state's resources and funds that are available to the system. Next, on racial justice. As a judge of probate, my job is to ensure that everyone gets the same justice in my court. I would work to this goal by applying the law fairly and impartially, and regardless of race and ethnicity, ensuring that everyone is treated equally. But I think we all know that there are existing inequities in our society and our judicial system. So I would like to work to ensure the fairness of the probate court system through education, by educating the public on the role of the probate court. I believe that once people understand how the court works, they'll be able to better plan for death and incapacity. And regardless of race and socioeconomic background, they will then have better access to the probate court system. So I would ensure that I got out to the public. I brought programs to the public to educate them about probate, estate settlement, estate planning, conservatorships, and guardians, so that they're comfortable once they reach the probate court, should they need it. With regard to distinguishing myself as a candidate, I would say this: experience matters in the probate court. Judges are tasked with making sensitive decisions relating to families, inheritance, legal capacity, and guardianship. And it's important that a judge is impartial and a judge displays the utmost integrity and knowledge of the law. While at the same time, a probate court judge has to understand how family dynamics play out under stressful circumstances. And I've been an attorney for 18 years. 12 years of that I've practiced exclusively in the area of probates and estates. I've seen many times when a parent dies or becomes incapacitated that there's a shift in the decision-making structure, which is really difficult for family members. And what people most want is an opportunity to be heard by the judge in a court that they feel is fair and impartial. So I've had 800 appearances in 26 of the probate courts in Connecticut. I've been recognized as a super lawyer in the area of probates and estates. I understand the challenges of our regions. I understand families, children, elderly, and the disabled. I've been intimately involved in my community through my work on the Stonington Free Library Board and the Stonington Housing Authority. I'm a local resident. I grew up in Mystic. I went to Stonington High School. And finally, I'm a mom. And I really think that parents understand the complex and emotional dynamics in family relationships. And I think it's important that a judge understand that, have lived it, and sees it playing out. I've handled millions of dollars in settlement of decedents' estates. I've worked through family dynamics as my clients need conservatorships involuntary commitments. These are all intimate family matters, and it's really important for a judge to have experience. I think that my in-depth knowledge of probate law, my knowledge of the probate court system, our region, and my experience in the community, and my experience, just personal experience, distinguish me as a candidate in the race for Judge of Probate. And I would welcome any comments that you have, and critiques as well. So I probably didn't use all of my time, but I hope that I gave a fair assessment of my positions with regard to being Judge of Probate. Thanks.
I will open the discussion to questions. And
Okay, I have a question for Beth. She mentioned that she would offset the lower court fees with efficiencies. And I'm wondering what efficiencies she would implement.
So, Linda, what I said specifically is that I would keep probate fees from rising. And that isn't that I think that I can get in and lower probate court fees, but I think we need to keep the probate court accessible and the fees reasonable. So looking at the fees, we need to make sure that it allows the probate court to be accessible to everyone. There are waiver programs in the probate court for people that have financial hardships. And so it's important that we continue those kinds of programs to allow the probate court to be accessible. In terms of making sure that the probate court is running efficiently, that's making sure that you're properly staffed and that you have the staff that to handle the amount of work that's coming through the court. But, as I'm I run a law practice and a law firm, you need to make sure that, you're not overstaffed and that you have the proper staff in place, but that you're able to, keep the court system running efficiently and that you're not, you don't have a lot of excess in the probate court. Part of that I've seen in the last 6 months with COVID-19 is that we've been able to move from having all hearings be in person to Zoom hearings and calls on the phone. And I think that that's really allowed, from my perspective, clients to be able to engage and not have to displace themselves and miss days of work. I don't have to charge as much to my clients, to be honest, when I don't have to leave my office and drive to the probate court, wait for the hearing to start and what have you. So I think that's a big savings for people who are using the probate court system and have an attorney. And if they don't have an attorney, they don't have to leave work. They can log on from their phone or their computer and they can be present at the probate court hearing. So I think there are a lot of efficiencies that we can see, but I don't think that I want to commit to being able to lower the fees as they stand today. That certainly is something that we could look at, but I want to make sure that we don't see rising costs that are going to prohibit people from being able to use the system.
Thank you.
Sure.
Beth, you were wonderful, and I'm just going to give you I want to go have a cup of tea with you and talk about a zillion things. It was really great, and I just want to say that as a nurse and a visiting nurse for 20 years now, where I'm in the homes of elderly, and a lot of times they're dealing with these things at crises, and people who have never had a lawyer before and have no idea what to even do. That another suggestion might be, I haven't been to nursing school in 35 years, but I don't know if probate judges do any kind of lectures at Three Rivers for the nursing program, or do anything with, visiting nurses, homemakers, companions, that type of the professionals, because we really don't know a lot. But yet we're the people that are on the front line being asked the question, and we don't know where to send them. We really don't. We have social workers who aren't allowed to go to Title 19 homes, which is something I want to change when I get up to Hartford, to make social workers be able to see Title 19 clients. But if we have a Title 19 client, we can't get a social worker. So it's just something to think about. I really think probate judges, people really don't know what you do. and that sometimes because you do it every day, you think you know what everybody knows what you do, but you do so much good, and just to really make sure people know what you do and how you can make it better.
I think that's a great idea, Martha, in terms of how being able to have the most impact and being able to get to the people that are working with the elderly and the disabled and understand what their options are and how to put them into the right place with the probate court system. If you don't know about the probate court system, it's hard to do that. And it's hard for the elderly and the disabled when they're in a compromised situation to be able to reach out to the probate court system. I have clients that, had, relatives move them to an assisted living or a nursing home and they weren't happy, and they're trying to call me on the phone as their attorney, but they're in their weakest, most disabled state at that point. And it is sometimes the healthcare workers and the home health aides that are reaching out to me saying, my client wants me to call you and what have you. So I think knowing who to call, whether it's an attorney or probate court, and what can be filed and what can be done to help them, because really anyone can be a petitioner in the probate court if they feel that a client needs to be conserved, or if there's a serious issue with capacity, and there needs to be a commitment. We don't have a lot of those in the Southeastern Regional Probate Court District, but that doesn't mean that there can't be some guardianship issues with children if you see issues there, because you're in the home and you're a mandatory reporter. So I think that's a great idea, because sometimes just saying, well, I'm going to have a Zoom call on this and everybody can log in, it's really not being all that accessible. But I think going out to the frontline workers and making sure they know how the court system works and how it can be there to help their patients and their families and friends is important. So thank you for bringing that up, because it actually hadn't come to my mind. And that's one of the things I think is great about this type of forum, is that we can share ideas and it makes us all stronger candidates, and hopefully stronger representatives and stronger judges when we get there. So thank you.